Welcome back, brother. This content is for those genuinely interested in men's rights. It covers complex, controversial topics that may not suit a general audience. If you're not part of the men's rights community, this video isn't for you, so feel free to tune out now. I'm Conrad Riker, a writer and advocate for fairness, dignity, and respect for men. Oh, I'm Conrad Riker on Congress, dignity, and respect for men. This movement isn't about division, but addressing systemic injustices in divorce, family law, and societal expectation. Inspired by hard-working men unfairly stripped of their rights, I write for balance and justice. Together, we can change the narrative. Please like and subscribe if you appreciate this video, as it will help get the word out to those who need it. Thank you. Please relax and enjoy. This is an excerpt from State-Sponsored Silence: How Britain Covered Up Grooming Gang Crimes, an ebook available in all good stores. Grooming gangs don't just stumble upon their victims, they hunt them. A former gang member once told me, we'd look for the girls who were alone, the ones who looked like they needed someone to care. They'd hang around parks, bus stops, and schools, scanning for vulnerability like predators in the wild. These weren't random acts of evil. They were calculated, deliberate, and chillingly effective. The goal? To isolate, manipulate, and exploit. And it worked. In Rochdale, one of the most infamous cases, gangs used alcohol and drugs to lower inhibitions, making their victims easier to control. One victim later recalled, "They'd give us vodka and weed, and suddenly, everything felt okay, until it wasn't." This wasn't just about getting girls drunk, it was about breaking down their defenses, one drink at a time. Peer pressure is another weapon in the groomer's arsenal. In schools, gangs often recruit younger members to befriend potential victims, creating a sense of trust and camaraderie. One teacher I spoke to described how a 14-year-old girl in her class suddenly started skipping school, hanging out with older boys, and coming back with expensive gifts. When confronted, the girl insisted they were just friends. But friends don't give you designer handbags and iPhones for nothing. The teacher's instincts were right. The girl was being groomed. By the time anyone realized what was happening, it was too late. The average age of grooming victims in the UK is just 13 years old. Let that sink in. These are children, barely teenagers, being targeted by predators who know exactly how to exploit their naivety. Social media has become a space where groomers thrive. Platforms like Instagram and Snapchat let predators connect with victims by pretending to be friends or romantic partners. One victim I spoke to explained how her groomer started messaging her with compliments and flattery. "He made me feel special," she said, "but it was all fake." Groomers often use an initial phase to build trust, giving their victims lots of attention and gifts before the abuse starts. This phase is key. It makes the victim feel like they're in a real relationship, even as the groomer is preparing to exploit them. The psychological manipulation is so subtle that many victims don't realize they're being groomed until it's too late. The media often gets grooming wrong. Art or TV. Dramas portray it as a dramatic, overt process, but the reality is far more insidious. Groomers don't show up in black vans offering candy. They're charming, persuasive, and patient. They know how to play the long game. One victim described her groomer as the nicest guy I'd ever met. He listened to me, bought me things, and made me feel like I mattered. But that's the trap. Groomers mimic romantic relationships to gain control, using psychological tactics to isolate their victims from friends and family. By the time the abuse starts, the victim is often too emotionally dependent to leave. Parents, listen up. Grooming doesn't happen overnight. There are warning signs, but you have to know what to look for. Sudden changes in behavior, unexplained gifts, and secretive phone use are all red flags. One mother I spoke to noticed her daughter was spending more time on her phone and less time with her friends. When she checked the phone, she found hundreds of messages from an older man. It was a wake-up call. It's groomers are experts at hiding in plain sight, but vigilance can make all the difference. Teach your kids to recognize manipulation, and don't be afraid to ask tough questions. It could save their lives. The step-by-step process groomers use is both methodical and horrifying. First, they identify a vulnerable target, someone with low self-esteem or a troubled home life. Then, they build trust, often posing as a friend or romantic partner. Once the victim is emotionally invested, the groomer begins to isolate them, cutting off ties with friends and family. Finally, the abuse begins. It's a slow, deliberate process designed to break down the victim's resistance. And it works. One victim described it as being trapped in a spider's web. You don't even realize you're caught until it's too late. Grooming is a crime of manipulation, not passion. It's about power, control, and exploitation. And it's happening right under our noses. The left-wing progressive crowd loves to talk about systemic oppression and woke ideologies. But where's the outrage for these victims? Where's the justice? Instead of focusing on real issues, they're too busy pushing Marxist nonsense and demonizing masculinity. Meanwhile, grooming gangs continue to prey on our children, unchecked and unpunished. It's time to wake up. The silence is deafening, and the victims are paying the price. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest in state-sponsored silence. How Britain Covered Up Grooming Gang Crimes, available in all good bookstores. Please like and subscribe. Thank you and God bless. Please like and subscribe. Thank you and God bless.